Welcome back. It's now time to talk about that students' loan that the federal government promised and now has now actualized. But before I introduce my guest, let's bring you the news just in that the president has approved the appointment of Mrs. Didi Esther Wilson-Jack as the head of the Civil Service of the Federation with effect from August the 14th, 2024. Mrs. Wilson-Jack was appointed as Federal Permanent Secretary in 2017 and served in several ministries. And the new appointee will take over from the incumbent head of civil service, whose tenure will expire on August the 13th. So by next month, we're going to have a new head of the civil service of the Federation. Okay, let's now talk to our guest. Akintunde Sawyer is the Managing Director of the Nigeria Education Loan Fund. He joins us from Abuja studio. Sir, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me here again.
Absolutely. It's good news for a lot of students, and I can see you're smiling. Dream come true, finally, this can be effected. So in between all of this, I must thank you for your patience as well. In between all of this, we may be showing the audience, the live feed of how the site or the portal looks like that we can speak to. But give us a sense of what played out at the Villa today and what we should be expecting with this launch.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. So what played out at the Villa today, we went to see the President, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to really ask him to put his seal of approval on the work that we've been doing so far. And in so doing, really launch and permit the fund to begin to be disbursed to those who have successfully applied for this loan. And so effectively what we did today was bring in some of the beneficiaries, and there are two types of beneficiaries in this process. One is the institutions that will get paid on behalf of those who have successfully applied to go to those institutions, to attend those institutions. And the second is the students themselves, the applicants who have been successful in their applications, who will receive a monthly stipend. So what played out today was really the formal launch of the disbursement cycle, which really is the proof of the pudding, if you like, that this really has been an exercise that we're going to follow through by actually creating a system where people get the value and the benefit that the President had promised way back even during his campaign. There were many stakeholders present today, including the President himself, ministers, heads of parastatals, and other departments of government who have a stake in this. And together we've all sort of been able to find a way through to really launch a program that will change many, many lives in Nigeria, and will give us better leadership in the future, and will improve the socio-economic status of the country.
All right, so that we speak to a few facts. So we understand that over 100,000 students have applied. Am I correct, sir?
You're correct, yes. So over 100,000, to be precise, about 110,000 students have successfully applied. What I mean by that is that they've actually put in their applications. They've been verified as being bona fide and eligible applicants. But we still carry out a further verification to make sure that they are well qualified to receive these loans. But over 100,000, 110,000, as I said, to be precise, are likely to begin to receive disbursements from next week.
Okay, your landing, I know you said it in landing, but I need it to be clear again so that we can take that as record. It's important to students. So when should they be expecting their alerts, either to their universities or institutions, or to their personal account for the ones that are for upkeep? When exactly should they be expecting?
Okay, so to be very specific, and it's important for us to remember that it's one thing to get approval for the loan, it's another thing to begin to receive the value. This loan is for people who are going to be starting at the institution afresh or already there. Now, if it's the people who are going to first receive alerts as early as next week are the people who are about to start a new session in the institution that they're in. But when I talked about the value, what I was really saying is that there are some of the 100,000, 110,000 students and applicants who are successful who will not begin to receive it until their session begins, which could be several weeks down the line or a couple of months down the line. But those who are starting now, or who started in the last few weeks, will start to receive value from next week, and so will their institutions.
So, for context, 100,000 or 110,000 have already applied. So this portal is now open for more persons to apply. Is there a limit to how much the fund can take in terms of this next phase of application that may just be watching this program and say, oh, I did not know, let me get on the fray?
Sure. So first, let me say that 110,000 have applied. We've actually got something like 170,000 who have registered, who now have an account, if you like, with NELFund. So effectively, you know, that's the number, and that is growing. The portal remains open. We're getting hits per day, or should I say registrations per day, in the region of 1,000 to 2,000 applicants. So the growth rate is phenomenal, especially considering that, you know, we haven't really done a lot of sensitization or advertising because we're really wanting to be sure that the system is robust and works well. And it's when we arrived at that point, we came to see the president, and now we're going to really drive the awareness and create even more opportunities for access to the application, which will then create more opportunities for access to the courses or to the education that we're speaking about.
All right, Mr. Sawyer.
Education, university, polytechnic, yes, and colleges of education.
Okay, let's also help the students. I'm also looking at it on my device. I'm sure my producer will be scrolling as well. So the simple steps to secure this loan, for those who are not very familiar, maybe you can walk us through for somebody who is coming for the first time to get a sense of how to, you know, maximize this opportunity. What are the steps? I see there are 3 steps here that I want you to speak to.
Okay, so, you know, the law says that you have to be a Nigerian to get this loan. The law says that you have to have admission at a tertiary institution that is owned by the government. That's the state government or the federal government. So essentially when an individual or an applicant, a prospective applicant, approaches the site, one of the first things it does is that it asks you these checker questions. Are you a Nigerian? Yes. Do you have a JAM number? Yes. Once you've answered, or a matriculation number, once you've answered those questions, it then allows you to progress to another page, which then begins to ask you further questions, you know, BVN, and other questions that qualify you for that. BVN, by the way, is because you know it is a loan. It has to be paid back through formal channels at some point in the future. So we need to be sure that those who are applying for this loan are in the formal financial inclusion segment of society. And if you're not, then this is your opportunity to go and open a bank account and become captured in that. Once we've cleared through all of that, so, you know, a matric number or an admission number, the JAM number, the BVN, and the national identification number, it allows you to then open or attempt to open an account, which is called a registration with the NELFund. Essentially, what then happens is that you get to another page where it says, you know, you can enter your email address, and once you do that, we will send you an email with a link. When you receive that email, which presupposes that you will only get it if you've got the right email address, which again is a unique identifier. When you receive that email on your email inbox, there is a link with it, which then takes you back to our portal and allows you to open an account where you fill out your profile, your name, your address, your telephone number, and some other personal details, your bank account details. That dashboard, which you've effectively opened, stays with you for the entire duration that you have this loan for. So that means going beyond being a student all the way through to into your working career. It's a portal that you can interact with because you've got your unique username and your own unique password. You are registered with NELFund. And if you remember, I talked about 170,000 people being registered. You can stop at this stage. But if you choose to go on, you then say, okay, I want to apply for the loan. The next stage is that you are able to select the institution that you have been admitted to. You're able to select the course that you're going to study. And you get some information there about whether that is confirmed or not, whether the institution, from the data we have collected from them, recognize you as a bona fide individual who's been admitted or is an existing student of that institution on a particular course and at what level. And of course, the course fee, because it's a loan, so you need to know how much you're applying for. Once you are happy with the course fee, the course, the institution, the year of study, you can then apply for that loan. Once you've applied for that, it goes off and shows that you've made an application. There is a second loan you can apply for, which is a stipend, which allows you to receive a monthly fee for upkeep at the institution.
All right, Mr. Sawyer, if I may butt
in. So you in effect apply for two loans. One for the institution,
yes,
gets paid direct. The other one is upkeep. The second is contingent on the first. So you can only apply for the upkeep if you're in an institution.
All right, Mr. Sawyer, quick questions as we begin to round off. From the federal government end, I think, how much was the 5 billion? Has that money increased, or what is the right figure that the pool that these monies can be? How much is there now?
Okay, so look, our current exposure to students is about 35 billion. We've got much more than that. We've got much more than that sitting in our account that we can disperse. And we've also got some funding on the way. Remember, we're getting 1% of Federal Inland Revenue Service taxes, and we've also got the ability to receive investments from other sources. So the point is, 5 billion is not what we have. We've got multiples of that. We've got a 35 billion or so exposure. We can more than cover that. And that's why the portal is open, and we're inviting and encouraging as many people as possible to come and apply. The president has promised as part of this that whatever is required to ensure that students get these loans will be done. So I think there's real political will here, and I can assure you that it's not 5 billion. That we passed our 5 billion exposure, I think, in the first 10 days of launching the portal. We are seriously
we're totally out of time.
We're making promises and we can act.
But I'm happy, at least for fact. You said 35 billion so far in your exposure, and we hope it's going to increase. But one quick question, and 10 seconds if you can, I beg you. So a student's case study, if you're in year 1, year 2, year 3, final year for 4-year courses, you can apply every session, right? Is that
correct? Yes, you apply yearly. You already have an account from the first time you apply, so you don't have to go through all the steps again. But yes, you apply yearly because we want to make sure that you're still in the institution.
All right, so
and you're registered and accepted.
We will definitely have to invite
to the next year.
Okay, we'll definitely have to invite you in when they start getting the alert. The beautiful sound of alert cannot be matched by any other music, not even Wizkid and Davido. So I'm sure students like that. Mr. Akintunde Sawyer, MD, Nigeria Education Loan Fund.
I think we all like alerts.
We all like alert, exactly. Thank you for coming on the program.
Indeed. It's been a pleasure being here as usual. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
See you soon.